Hi, fourth grade. It's Mrs. Jones. You won't see my face today because we're going to learn how to draw angles using our protractor. Okay, so get your protractors ready, and I would recommend using blank sheets of paper to practice drawing for our guided practices today. Okay, all right, so here's my hand. Let's get started. So recall that there are three types of angles. We have a right angle, we have an acute angle, and an obtuse angle. Now, do you remember with the right angle when we met for live class last week? I had you fold up a tiny piece of paper like this, and we knew that each corner here made a right angle, right? And we were able to draw right angles and measure right angles by using our piece of paper. And now a right angle is actually 90 degrees. Okay, and here's a piece of paper that fits into this angle. And so from this ray to that ray, the measure of that angle is 90 degrees. Now an acute angle is less than 90 degrees. Okay, any angle that's less than 90 degrees is between 0 and 90. So for example, 89 degrees would be an acute angle, or 1 degrees would be an acute angle. Now an obtuse angle is between 90 and 180 degrees. You see how a right angle is larger than an acute angle, but an obtuse angle is larger than a right and an acute angle? Okay, all right. So now let's use our protractor to draw acute and obtuse angles. So look at this example, okay? Now we're going to follow these steps to draw an angle of 70 degrees. An angle that's 70 degrees is an acute angle because it's less than 90 degrees. Here are the first two steps. Number one, draw a line and mark a point on the line. This point is a vertex. Place the base of the baseline of the protractor on the line and the center of the baseline on the vertex. Okay, so let me just make my video screen that's in front of you bigger, okay, so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Okay, so first off, okay, on our protractor here, okay, we have a center point in here. Okay? For my protractor, there's a center point with a hole in it. Maybe some of you don't have that hole, but I have that hole right here. Okay, and the baseline on the protractor, do you see how there's a line, a straight line that goes through that hole almost, right, over here? I'm not talking about the edge of my protractor. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about this line that you see that's drawn on the protractor that goes through the center of my protractor. Okay, so right now the first step was to draw a line. So here's my line, and my line is a line that goes on forever. That's why I'm going to draw two arrows, and I'm going to draw these points here and then my vertex here. Okay, and here, that's my vertex. Okay. So what you're going to do next is you're going to put the vertex inside the center of your hole. Not only that, you're going to match the baseline on the protractor with the horizontal line that you drew on your paper. Okay, so look, I believe the hole is inside my center, but then now the baseline didn't match my horizontal line yet, right? So I'm going to try to maneuver my protractor. Oh, I went too far. And I'm going to go back up. What do you think? Is this close? It's close, but not exactly, right? Because you see how there's a part here. There's this line that comes apart here, and there's a line right there. Okay? There's like some spacing. So I want to try and be as accurate as I can. So I'm going to move it ever so slightly. And let's see, that looks pretty good. Okay. All right, so that's my first step. Okay, so I'm going to keep that there. And let's see what's next. Let me just minimize my screen here. Okay. So what's next is we're going to use the inner scale or the outer scale to find the 70-degree mark. And then we're going to mark it with the dot as shown. Okay? All right, sounds good. So let me show you what that means. Okay? All right. So on my protractor, okay, my inner scale is here in the inside, right? And 0 degrees starts right here. And then you see how there's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. It's the inside of the protractor. And my outer scale is here. But my outer scale, my 0 actually starts on the other side right here. This is my 0. Okay? Oh, and my protractor moves, so I'm going to fix that. Okay, so that's my 0. Then I have a 10, I have a 20. Okay? Then I have a 30, 40, 50, 60, and so on and so on. Okay? All the way to 180. So first, I'm going to use my inner scale, okay? So what do I need to do? I need to draw an angle of 70 degrees. So I'm going to find 70 degrees on my inner scale, which is, oh, it's right here. Okay, so I'm going to draw a dot or a point, okay? And you don't want to just draw a point like that, just drawing a really tiny dot. It's very hard to see. I would recommend drawing it not crazy big, but somewhat visible, okay? And then what you're going to do now is, it goes from here, 0, all the way to here is 70, right? So what you're going to do is you're going to take your straight edge, and thankfully our protractor has a straight edge right here. And you're going to try to line up your vertex with your point that you drew that was at 70 degrees, okay? And you're going to draw a ray from the vertex all the way through that point. You're going to draw a ray, okay? So my inner scale showed me that from here, 0 all the way to 70, this is 70 degrees using the inner scale, okay? Now, let's use the outer scale, okay? So if I use my outer scale, I'm going to again place my vertex in the center of my protractor, line up the baseline of my protractor with the horizontal line I drew. Now let's use the outer scale, okay? Now remember, the outer scale goes from 0 here all the way to 70, which is behind my fingers, I believe. So here's 70, okay? So I'm going to draw a dot, or a point, I mean, okay? That's 70. And so I know from here to here, that's 70 degrees. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my straight edge here, and I'm going to draw a ray from my vertex all the way through. Okay? And then so from here to here, that's my outer scale, that's 70 degrees. Okay? So that's how we drew an acute angle. Now let's look at another example. And in this example, we're going to draw an angle measure of 145. What type of angle is that? Is that an acute, an obtuse, or a right? Well, 145 is larger than 90, but less than 180, so it's an obtuse angle. And we're going to use our inner scale and outer scale to draw our obtuse angle. Okay, so I'm going to move this. And let me just make this a tad bigger for us, like right here, okay? Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna start with a line. So I'm gonna draw a line, okay? So I'm gonna use my straight edge to draw a line. And a line has 2 arrows here because it goes on forever. And then here are some points on my line, and here's my vertex, which will be in the middle of my line, okay? And let's say, so now I'm going to draw an angle that's 145 degrees. So I'm going to, is this the right way to put my protractor, like this? No, because my vertex has to be in the center of my protractor. So I have to make sure I put it in there. And my baseline of my protractor has to match the line that I drew. Okay, so you can see how it goes over that line perfectly. So for now, let's use our inner scale. Okay, so my inner scale goes from 0 on this side all the way to 10, 20, 30, 40, and all the way to, okay, Oh, I see. It has to be 145. 145 is halfway between 140 and 150. So I'm going to draw a point at 145 right here. And then what do we do? Well, I'm going to take my straight edge here on my protractor, and I'm going to make a ray from my vertex all the way through my point at 145 on my inner scale, like so. Okay. And so from here to here, using my inner scale, that was 145 degrees. Now, let's use our outer scale, and I'm going to use a different color pen, okay, to use my outer scale to show you. So again, let's put the vertex inside my center of my protractor, and I'm going to line up my baseline on my protractor to the horizontal line I drew. Now my outer scale starts from here, right? 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, and it has to be 145, which is halfway between 140 and 150. So I'm going to draw my point right there, which is at 145, okay? And so I'm going to take my vertex here, and I'm going to draw a ray from my vertex through that point I drew. And it doesn't exactly go in the middle, but it's close. Okay? So from here to here, that is my 145 degree angle using my outer scale. Okay? All right, now I want to talk to you about an important fact. Okay? An angle with a measure of 180 degrees is called a straight angle. Okay? And let me tell you, explain to you in a little bit more detail why that is. Okay, so let me just make this a tad bigger. Okay, so let's say I'm going to draw my line here. Okay. My vertex, and then one point and another point there. Okay, and so if I line this up here with my vertex inside my center, and making sure my baseline is lined up correctly with the horizontal line I drew, that looks good. Okay. Now if I use my inner scale, remember my inner scale 0 starts on this side of the protractor, which is the right side. Goes from 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, all the way, and my 180 is actually right here. Okay. Now using my outer scale, my 0 starts on this side, which is the left side of the protractor, and it goes all the way to 180 right here. Okay. Which is right here. Okay. So my inner scale shows from here to there, from right to left, this is 180 degrees. And then my outer scale shows from here to here, which is from left to right. It's actually 180 degrees as well. So a straight line is 180 degrees. All right, now let's talk about angles and drawing them in different directions. So look at this example. Let's say we had a ray and we label it AB, ray AB, like this. Okay? And you want to use a point A as the vertex. So here, that will be my vertex. And we're going to draw angle CAB that measures 45 degrees so that ray AC lies above AB. Okay? So let's see what this will look like. Okay? Just increase this bigger so you guys can see it. Okay. All right. So here is my ray AB, and I want to have a ray AC that lies above. I put above. This should be above AB. Okay. And it should be a 45 degree angle. Okay. So A is my vertex. So my vertex always goes in the center of my protractor. Okay, do this. But I have to, again, make sure my baseline is on top of my ray that I drew, because I'm going to have to manipulate it a bit. That looks good. Okay. And now, let's see, I know I have to go from here all the way up. Okay. But should I use my outer scale or my inner scale to measure 45 degrees? Well, I should use my inner scale because my outer scale starts from 180, then goes backwards at 170, 160. My inner scale starts at 0 here, and it goes 10, 20, 30, 40. And remember, I want 45 degrees. So that's halfway between 40 and 50. So I'm going to draw a point at 45. And now from your vertex to that point at 45, we're going to draw a ray. Okay. And this ray is going to be called ray AC. So I'm going to write a C here at the point. So now, does my angle meet the conditions of the directions? Let's see. I have angle CAB, okay, that works, and I measured that it was 45 degrees, check, and ray AC lies above ray AB. Nice, so that works. This is my thumbs up to you. Now let's say that we wanted to draw angle CAB that measures 45 degrees so that ray AC lies below AB, ray AB. So here's ray AB, but I want a ray AC that lies below, and it has to be 45 degrees, okay? And A is the vertex, okay? So let's look here. So if it's a vertex, I have to put it in my center, right? And I have to match up my baseline. But remember, it wants to lie below. When I put a point up here or here, it's going to go above AB. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to manipulate my protractor like so. And again, I have to put the center A inside my hole, my center hole. So again, I have to make sure my baseline on my protractor is on top of my line, on top of my ray, like so. Okay. And then, so now, let's see. Should I use my inner scale or outer scale to measure 45 degrees? Well, from here to here, my outer scale is 0, 10, 20, 30, and it increases. But from here to here, my inner scale decreases from 180, 170, 160, and so on. So I should use my outer scale. Okay, so I want 45 degrees. So 45 degrees is halfway between 40 and 50. Okay, and so that's right here. I'm going to draw my point. Okay, and with my straight edge, I'm going to draw a ray from my vertex A that goes through the point at 45 degrees. Okay. And I have to label this ray AC. Okay, so this is C here. Now, let's see if it meets the conditions. Okay. Now, I drew angle CAB. I drew angle CAB, check. That measures 45 degrees, check. So that ray AC lies below AB, check. All right. Nice. Okay. All right, so this is what it looks like just on the screen. That's the above one, this is the below one, and I already did it on the paper. Okay. Now, can you do guided practice numbers 1 and 2 on your own? And I will see you in a bit. Okay, see you soon. Hi, welcome back. All right, so now guided practice number 1 is wanting us to draw angle PQR, okay, after we draw ray QP. Okay? So we're going to draw angle PQR that measures 55 so that QP lies above QR. Oh, so QP has to lie above a different ray. So let's say this is my ray. So my ray has to either be here, 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 here. It has to lie, QP has to lie above my ray QR. Okay, so that means I have to figure out an angle from here to here, okay? So I'm going to put my protractor upside down like this, And I'm going to use my Q as my vertex, so I have to put it in my center hole in my protractor. And I have to make sure my baseline is on top of my ray, and I think that looks good. And it looks like I have to use my outer scale, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, but I want 55. 55 is halfway between 50 and 60, so it's right here. Okay. So I'm going to take my straight edge here, and I'm going to draw a ray from my vertex Q through that point at 55, okay, like so. And that is, so I have my ray QP, but I want to draw my ray QR, so that is R. And here is 55 degrees. Okay, so let's see if it meets the conditions. I drew angle PQR, that was 55 degrees, yeah? So that QP lies above QR, ray QR. Nice, it works. All right, guided practice number 2. We want to draw angle PQR that measures 55 degrees so that QP lies below QR, ray QR. Okay, so QP is here, but it has to lie below a ray QR. So maybe ray QR is here, or here, or here, or here, depending if my pencil was my ray, okay? So that means I can put my protractor like this. And I have to make sure again, Q is my vertex, right? So it has to go inside my center hole here. And then I want to match up my baseline to my ray. So I'm going to kind of maneuver it. Oops, I went too far back, go back a little bit, and now it's good. Okay? And so now it has to be 55 degrees. So let me see, should I use my outer scale or inner scale? Well, my outer scale starts from 180, 70, no. Let's use my inner scale. So inner scale is 10, 20, 30, 40. Oh, here's 50, but it has to be 55, right? So it's halfway between 50 and 60, which is 55 right here. And then I'm going to draw a ray from Q to that point I drew at 55. Okay? And this is ray QP, and the ray I drew was QR. Okay? And so now let's see if it meets the conditions that we're given. Okay? So draw angle PQR that measures 55 degrees, yep, so that QP, ray QP, lies below ray QR. Yeah, that works. Which is a thumbs up. All right. Yeah. You know what you're doing, I think. Good. All right. Can you guys do guided practice numbers 1 and 2 on your own? And I'll see you soon. Hello. All right. Let's see what you got. Okay. So let me just make this a tab larger. Okay, there we go. So what we had to do here was we have an angle measure greater than 40 degrees but less than 90 degrees at point C. Okay. So at point C, so that means C is my vertex, okay? So my vertex has to go inside my center hole right here, okay? And my baseline on my protractor has to make sure it matches up with the ray. That's there, that's horizontal, that's perfect. And so now it has to be greater than 40. So here's my 40 here. And I'm going to use my inner scale. Okay, it has to be greater than 40 and then less than 90. And my 90 is here. Okay. Notice that my 90 degrees is the same spot for my inner scale and my outer scale. Okay. So I have to draw, I have to put a point anywhere here. It could be anywhere. I'm going to just put 80 degrees. Okay, so I'm going to put it at 80 degrees here. Alright, and so I'm going to draw a ray from C through that point, like so. And I'm going to label that point after I draw an angle saying that it's 80 degrees. I guess I'll just call it point D. Okay, and I'm going to erase these little marks I made to write notes so I can be neat. So my angle DCD is equal to 80 degrees, which meets the conditions here. It's greater than 40 but less than 90. Okay? And that's using an inner scale. You can also use the outer scale. It's just that your angle will be a little bit, will be starting from here and then it'll go up here, right? Okay. Now I just use the inner scale in this example. Alright, let's look at number 2. We're going to draw an angle of measure 125 at point E. Okay? So E is my vertex, so my vertex goes in the center of my protractor right there. And then I have to make sure I maneuver my protractor so the baseline is on top of my horizontal line. Nice. Okay. And then so now I want to draw an angle that measures 125. So I'm going to use my outer scale this time. So my outer scale is from here, so 0 all the way to 125. 125 is halfway between 120 and 130. So here is my point that shows that. Okay, and I'm going to draw a ray from E through that point, okay, at 125. And this is 125. And I'm going to label this as my point, I guess I will say S. Okay, so I have my angle CES is equal to 125 degrees. Okay, and you can also use the inner scale as well, but if you decide to use the inner scale, at this point, you're going to draw an angle that goes from here all the way to somewhere here. So 125 here. Okay? Right, but I use my outer scale for this one. All right. Woo! You guys are doing excellent. Okay. The last 2 problems. Can you please do numbers 3 and 4 and then play the video when you're ready? See you soon. Alright, you must be ready. Let's give this a try. So, let's see, I'm going to make my video screen a tad bit bigger, like so. Okay. And guided practice number 3, or let's practice number 3 says to draw an angle, angle DEF at 140 degrees. Now, that means angle DEF, this E here, is my vertex. Okay, so first I'm going to draw a ray, and my endpoint will be E because that's my vertex. Okay? And let's see, I'm going to draw a ray, like so. And my endpoint is E over here. And then so this can be D or F. I'm going to just choose F. Okay. You can also write D here. Then the other point that you draw has to be F. Okay, if you wrote D there instead. But I'm going to write F here. So my other point that I draw has to be D. So it has to be 140. So I'm going to put this, put my vertex E inside my center of my protractor, and I'm going to make sure my baseline matches up with the ray, which it does right now. Okay, and I'm going to use my inner scale. Okay, so it has to be 140. So it's from 0, and then my 140. Oh, here's my 140 right here. I'm going to draw a point here. Okay, and I'm going to draw a ray from my endpoint E through that point at 140. And remember, this is D. Okay. And now that's 140. So my angle DEF is 140 degrees. Okay. All right. And now, let's see. I have to draw a right angle. Now, with the right angle, remember, we're going to use, we don't have to use a piece of paper anymore like this, okay, to draw a right angle, because you guys are learning how to draw angles with a protractor, okay? Now, right angle is 90 degrees. So first, let me just draw a line, a straight edge. So maybe I'll just draw it like here, like so, okay? Right. So I'm gonna have that be my vertex. Okay, so I'm gonna put that at the center. Okay, and I have to make sure my lines match up. My baseline matches up with my horizontal line. Okay, and now 90 degrees. You can use the outer scale or inner scale. I'm just gonna use the inner scale only because if I use the outer scale, I'm gonna have to draw a point on my word that I drew here, which is written as a right angle. Because I'm gonna just write. So I'm gonna draw a point at the using the inner scale at 90 degrees. Okay? And then so from my vertex, I'm going to use my straight edge to draw a ray that goes through the point at 90 degrees, like so. And when I want to denote 90 degrees, I have to use like the corner of a square. That automatically tells me, oh, that's 90 degrees. It's a right angle. Now an acute angle, okay, I'm going to just draw it down here. I'm going to draw my ray here. Okay, an acute angle. So this is just my ray. Okay, and that'll be my vertex here. Okay, I'm going to put my vertex inside my center of my protractor, and then I have to make sure my baseline of my protractor matches with the ray that I drew. Here it is. Okay, goes on top of one another. And now I'm going to, because it's from here to here, I'm going to have to use my inner scale. An acute angle is any angle that's less than 90. So here is 90 degrees. It has any angle from here to here. It could even be 1 degree. Okay? But I'm going to draw an angle that's maybe I'll draw it as 20 degrees. Okay? Right here. So then that will be 20 degrees. So I'm going to, from my end point to that 20 degree point, I'm going to draw another ray, like so. And here's my acute angle that I drew. And it's less than 90, but larger than 0. So that meets the conditions of it being an acute angle. Okay? Now, an obtuse angle, okay, so let's see, I'm going to draw, maybe I'll draw a ray the other way. I've been always drawing rays that way, so maybe I'll draw a ray the other way. Right here. Okay. So, and that'll be my end point for my ray, which is going to be my vertex. Okay? So let's put my center of my protractor on top of that vertex. I'm going to make sure I line up my baseline to my ray. Okay, now that looks good. Okay, and now let's use my outer scale. Okay, so an obtuse angle is any angle that's between 90 and 180 degrees. Now I don't think I can draw a point here because it goes outside of my paper. So I'm going to just draw it maybe I'll do it at 95 degrees actually, right here. Okay. So I'm going to go from my vertex to that point I drew at 95 degrees, like so. Okay. So it kind of looks like a right angle, right? But it's not a right angle because it's not 90 degrees, it's 95 degrees. Okay, and I'm going to make sure it is at 95. Yep, it goes through 95. And you can double check with your piece of paper because it should not. See how this lines up with that, but it goes past that 90 degrees here. It goes past this corner. Okay, so it is 95 degrees. Okay. All right. Well, that's all for today. That's the end. Thank you for joining me today. You guys are doing great. And have a wonderful weekend. Bye. I'll see you next time.